What's indeed going on, Jerome's? So your Minnesota Vikings look to get off the schneid and look to get to 2-4, want some more on the season. In Chicago, the Windy City taking on the crooked Chicago Bears, and of course, the brain trust of GM Ryan Poles, who was a finalist for the Vikings job, but then it's just like, I can't handle the pressure of being the Vikings GM, so I'll just take this Bears job and end up with the worst team in football, and then trade the number 1 overall pick, and then all that stuff. And also Matt Eberflus at Kia Toilet, where he's supposed to be this defensive genius, and they spent a lot of money in free agency on defense, and they spent high draft picks on defense, and their defense is still very poopy. Also, Ryan Poles is the one that said that the Bears are going to take the NFC North and never give it back. Still waiting on that. Still waiting. But this is our OPPO research video talking about the Chicago Bears rooster and the Bears offense. Sort of been hot and cold. Like they were completely trash the first couple of games, really come alive the last couple of weeks, as well as a big time win 40-20 in Washington last Thursday. So they got extra time off. Their offense is actually getting their ish together. They're currently 11th in the league in points, 14th in yards, and I mean, it all starts and ends with Justin Fields. Like as he goes, as the offense goes, and the offensive line hasn't really been doing him many favors. Weapon stepped up. DJ Moore having himself a historic game last Thursday against the Commies, 3 touchdowns. But, I mean, the rest of it, I feel like the Vikings are relatively okay in terms of looking at the offensive line. So they've had some shuffling. Braxton Jones on IR. Also, they lost Lucas Patrick. Yeah, there you go. That jabroni got hurt too. So they've had some shuffling along the offensive line where Tevin Jenkins is back in at left guard. Cody Whitehair shifted from guard back to center. Nate Davis is back in the lineup. Darnell Wright, the pride of Tennessee, who they ultimately drafted after they traded down a couple of times and then gave the Panthers Bryce Young and then gave the Eagles Jalen Carter. It's so stupid. Like they didn't take Jalen Carter because of Eberflus's scheme. Eberflus wants to play. Well, actually, no, that doesn't make any sense either because Eberflus plays a 4-man front. Bears screwed up. Anyways, Darnell Wright's going to be good, man. I really respect him a lot. The pride of Rocky Top, Tennessee. So he's good to go. Larry Borum, it's always been like okay at left tackle. And also, Dan Feeney's in the mix. I love, Aviante Collins, former Vikings legend Aviante Collins is in the mix as well. It's great to see him, man. But weapons-wise, I mean, they traded Claypool. I mean, people don't talk about enough. Like, Poles traded the number 32 overall pick for 0 wins and a couple of whatever games with Claypool, 1 touchdown. But they sent him to Miami for nothing. But DJ Moore is that guy. A lot of respect for his game. I think that he's the best wide receiver, too, in the league. I think him and Amonra sort of go back and forth for me as the wide receiver 2 in the division, obviously behind JJ. But then they got the rookie Tyler Scott from Cincy. I like Darnell Mooney. I feel like he never gets utilized enough. Like the pride of Tulane, he's underutilized. Like, hey, next offseason, you want to come to the Vikings? Hey, Darnell, you want to follow the Bears to Vikings wide receiver pipeline of Demarcus Robinson and Bernard Berrien and Bobby Wade? Do that up, man. Do that up, baby. Velus Jones Jr., the 75-year-old rookie from Tennessee last year. Trent Taylor, former Niners, in the mix. Tight ends wise, hey, so you remember when the Bears used to have like 17,000 tight ends? Still funny, man. But Cole Kmet, Golden Domer, is solid. Robert Tonyan, the former Greasy Grimy Green Bay Packer. The Lair Bird, Indiana State Sycamore. There you go. Mercedes Lewis, all 75,000 years of him, is still in there as well. And wait, can we pan on this? Or how do we do that? All right, so zoom in and enhance. And then over. There's not much going on. But important to note, so the running back one, Khalil Herbert, went down with that really ugly-looking high ankle sprain. Rashawn Johnson, the rookie running back from Texas, the other Longhorns rookie running back, is in concussion protocol. Travis Homer is dinged up. So their starting running back on Sunday is Donta Foreman. So getting another shot. Powerful runner. Got to give him some respect there. Also, Darrington Evans came in as like a free agent like 2 seconds ago. Also, their fullback, Kari Blossom game. Stud because he's a former Viking. That's how we roll, man. But I was like Blossom game, except he was never going to get the time of day because, I mean, obviously you got C.J. Ham. Defensively, So the Bears defense, even though they had a nice game against Washington, I think that says way more about Washington than it does about this defense, where even despite having a good game against Sam Howell and company, they're still 30th in the league in points allowed. They're 29th in yards allowed. They're dead last in third down percentage at 57.4%, and also they're 31st in red zone, giving up 6 every time the other team gets in the paint area, 77.8% of the time. But defensively, again, on paper, like, the defense should be really good. I mean, they got tons of names, but they just haven't put together the game as of yet. Up front, so you got Unique the Freak Ngakoue, former Vikings legend, former Vikings 2020 sack leader, even though he played like 5 games. Justin Jones, I like a lot, former Charger. Andrew Billings, the pride of Baylor's in that mix. But I really like the 2 rookies, and I think that's something smart that Poles actually did. Giving him credit, because Gervon Dexter from Florida, the second rounder, is fantastic. Zach Pickens from South Carolina, I wanted him so badly because the Vikings just needed some meat up front. So, I mean, don't let this depth chart fool you. Like, Pickens and Dexter, they're going to be the guys up front going forward. Then they spent a lot of money in free agency on the linebackers. Tremaine Edmonds coming down from Buffalo. Tremaine Edmonds entered the league when he was 20. It seems like he's 22 years old. Kind of crazy, man. TJ Edwards, they also spent a lot of money on a great cover linebacker from Philly. And, I mean, again, their front 7 ain't bad. On paper, it ain't bad, but they're just not getting it done, man. And then you got, in the secondary, Jalen, a guy that I've loved a lot. I liked him at Utah. Wanted the Vikings to be all up in on him. He's had shoulder issues the last couple of years, except he's a great cornerback. Tyreek Stevenson, physical freak from Miami, was a bit of a surprise in the second round. I think that a lot of people saw him as a late day 2, early day 3 guy, but he's in there getting a lot of reps now because they've had a ton of injuries, as well as Kyler Gordon is currently on injured reserve. He could be activated in time for Sunday, I believe. Pride of Washington, Trent McDuffie's former running mate. There you go. And then Cheeseburger Eddie Jackson looks to return from injury. Jaquan Brisker, I think, is underrated as a safety. So, again, on paper, their defense should be a lot better than it actually is. And, of course, it'll be the Vikings' luck where the 85 Bears just show up. Like the prime 85 Bears. Actually, the 86 Bears defense was actually a touch better, but neither here nor there. Let's see your specialist-wise. And nothing much there. But, I mean, overall, again, everything starts and ends with Justin Fields. Like, if the Vikings are able to get decent pressure on him and also not allow him to run, maintain that lane discipline in a bit of a mush rush, I mean, the Vikings will win. That's what it comes down to. And having a Caleb Evans healthy is going to help a lot on the outside with DJ Moore. And then they just go from there. And then even without JJ, I think offensively the Vikings will be able to put up points on the Bears defense. And even with the rain, the rain could preclude the passing game a bit, but also I think the Vikings, I do like the Vikings offensive line matchup against, again, this front 7 should be good, except it hasn't been good. And also, the defense will give it away in the passing game. So we'll see what happens there. But overall, I'm pretty confident. And even though we make fun of the Bears a ton, and it's really easy to do over the last couple of years, I think even though they gave up 1, even though they gave up Jalen Carter, I think overall, like, there is a decent nucleus of young talent here. But they have to decide if Justin Fields is going to be the guy. I think it's interesting that they suck, so they're going to have a high draft pick. The Panthers obviously suck, so they're going to have a high draft pick there as well. So it could be a spot where the Bears end up 1-2. It's conceivable. And then what are you going to do with Justin Fields? Probably trade him, and then you take Caleb Williams, and then you take Fashu the tackle, or you take Marvin Harrison Jr. Either way, you're going to be good to go, man. Good to go. Or just ransom off that second pick for Drake May. I don't know. But that's it. OPPO research. Take a look at the crooked Chicago Bears. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. We'll support the work. Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skull Production Value.